The Consecration of My Hero. Hello, my name is Carlos Barajas, and during high school, all I could think about was, how am I going to make it? From the beginning of my days in middle and high school, I took learning lightly, dedicating myself to completing assignments in a careless and indifferent manner. At the end of the day, it was just a grade. I considered school to be simple during these stages. I knew I had to fulfill activities, projects, and exams, but I never gave my best. However, once I entered my first semester of university, I realized that my study and learning methods needed to change if I wanted to achieve my goals. I began to fear this new academic stage that lay ahead, but one thing was certain: I had to make it through in any way possible. On the other hand, I have always had the support of my mother and close relatives for anything I set my mind to, no matter how crazy or daring. My family never turned their backs on me, so I always considered them my mentors to withstand the upcoming workload. Initially, I had doubts about my chosen career and whether opting for engineering was the right decision, mainly because all my friends were pursuing different paths. Nevertheless, my first 2 semesters were excellent: good grades, improved study methods, and I met great people and professors. But I always felt alone, navigating a sea of knowledge without anyone to share what I had learned. This started to bring back thoughts of fear, overshadowing my goals and purposes like an avalanche of thoughts from a frozen mountain. Once again, my mentors and professors never allowed me to give up. It's funny to think that in those times, I believed my teachers were against me, with their main goal being to punish me with a bad grade on an exam. Now, I realize they always fueled my desire to learn and squeezed my knowledge with the idea of creating a capable person with the mindset never to give up. However, not everything in this story is joyful. There were obviously good days, perfect days, and terribly bad days, days when you don't feel like thinking, studying, or socializing, days when you really don't know who you are, where you're from, or where you're going. Days when feeling alone was a constant that ceased to be relevant and only became something completely normal. But there is always a God who sees everything, who places people in our path to illuminate our lives with genuine energy and love. In my story, those gods are my grandparents. Despite fatigue and long days, they always showed me a smile and cared for me, always having a hot plate on the table with my name on it. Beyond satisfying my appetite, that plate managed to fill my soul. Ultimately, after a bad day, I turned to my grandparents, and with a conversation, they made my day exponentially better. On the other hand, at the end of my first year of university, I fell back into my bad habits and decided to trust myself. I had already discovered the method to do well academically, so I began neglecting school by giving in to temptations. I hung out with friends, started skipping 1 class, then 2, until it was a whole class, and eventually, I stopped caring altogether. I preferred spending time with my girlfriend rather than wasting time in a classroom. Unfortunately, all of this happened in my 3rd semester of the engineering program, globally known as one of the worst semesters because we covered such specific and relevant topics that even blinking for just 10 minutes in class could make you lose track and understand absolutely nothing. Additionally, the short sleep periods I had and the long commutes from my home to my school turned my life into a limbo. Totally worn out throughout my days, my temptations like parties, friends, and a partner seemed much more appealing compared to spending hours stressed in classrooms and on the long avenues I had to traverse. But as I mentioned before, fortunately, I have great allies who always help me overcome challenges. So, once again, I relied on them. In this case, in my 3rd semester of college, I decided to lean more on my stepfather. This was primarily because I considered him someone who knows a little bit about everything, and whatever he does always has the stamp of perfection. Therefore, everything I did was aimed at making him proud and showing him that, like him, I could also have that seal of certainty. I took my lessons, set aside my temptations, relied on my allies, and set a goal to pass all the subjects in my 3rd semester. I underwent a movie-like transformation. Endless study hours and a determination to get things done took over me. As a wise person once told me, coffees are cheap, nights are long, and sunrises are precious. In the end, all of this yielded positive results, and fortunately, I managed to pass all my subjects. Not exactly the way I would have liked, but with a learning experience I will never forget. On the other hand, I am currently close to completing my studies and, with that, a significant stage of my hero's journey. Therefore, it is essential that I start planning for the future. However, there are too many things on my mind, such as the fear of failure or returning home after the last day of classes and not knowing what to do. Everything I have built has cost me a lot, both academically and personally, and the idea of giving up all my hard work is challenging. But as I mentioned earlier, I believe I have many strengths that will allow me to tackle all the challenges that the professional world will offer. Unfortunately, a few months ago, I lost my job, but my ambitions are greater. I won't let a setback ruin my plans. If I could choose a superpower, it would definitely be related to the brain. This is mainly because of the mindset of overcoming challenges and resilience that I believe I possess. Despite the temptations or difficulties in my life, I always keep my mind focused on what needs to be done. However, I can't say that everything is done solely by my own hand. I truly have wonderful people who guide and support me in the most challenging moments, such as my family, girlfriend, and friends. Thanks to them, I am the person who is gradually overcoming and moving forward, regardless of adversities. Carlos always rises. Currently, with the goal of continuing my journey, I will try to manage both worlds, the academic and the professional. I have always tried to earn my own things with effort and dedication. Therefore, it is essential that I continue searching for a new job that contributes to gaining experience in the field of engineering. Both worlds depend on how much time I dedicate to them. Despite having those who care about me, no one is as interested in my success as I am. So, once again, using my superpower, I will stay focused to live a fulfilling and peaceful life. In today's reality, young people like me must clarify their goals and objectives both in the short and long term, allowing for a measurement system to observe whether we have progressed or wasted time. Unfortunately, there are many who are left behind, who take wrong paths, or simply decide to stop fighting. I know that patience, perseverance, and effort are great virtues. Therefore, through these virtues, I will begin to create a world full of opportunities that allow me to live a free life.